Welcome back to another episode of Exploring with Em and Stu.
And today we bring you to North Wales, where we're going to be taking you for a little look around the rather spectacular Dinorwig Slate Quarry. They started working on the quarry here in 1787 originally, and it went on to cover an area of 700 acres, which made it the largest or the second largest slate quarry in the whole world. So initially, it wasn't really that successful due to transportation costs and taxes, plus there was a little bit of a war going on with France at the time, but that all went on to change. For 1824, a horse-drawn tramway was actually built to the local port, which made it an awful lot easier to transport the slate from the quarry and off to other parts of the country. And at its peak in the late 1800s, it was actually producing 100,000 tonnes of slate a year and employed over 3,000 men.
We're actually at the halfway peak now of where we are. It's literally the incline was...
We've sort of climbed halfway up the quarry now.
It was quite amazing actually. It was quite good. But getting to this part is, well, I'll be honest with you, I'm going to use the word, it's spectacular. I mean, look at that. You can see the clouds just going over
the peak
Snowdon,
yeah.
the Snowdon Mountain there. And you get up to this part and this is what you're faced with. Look at this industry. This industry is amazing. It
is. I mean, everywhere you look around here, there are little ruined structures and little houses and workshops and goodness knows
carts.
What. There are carts and tramways. I mean, this whole place was mainly successful because of all these tramways that it was crisscrossed. I mean, miles and miles of tramways here, connecting all the different pits that this actual quarry is made up of, numerous different pits.
Well, look where Emma's standing. Straight away.
At the moment, there was clearly quite a substantial tramway system up here.
And this is a switch track, an old switch track. That there, straight away, is amazing.
Absolutely.
And then this is leading into this hut area.
Looks like some sort of workshop.
It does look like a workshop. It's pretty cool. But if you come with me and Emma around here, look at this. This is something else. This is round here, which Emma spotted a minute ago about how well they decorated their fireplace.
Yeah, I was a little bit curious to see, having seen the rather rudimental little huts and things that they lived in, that this particular hut up here seems to have quite an ornate fire heath. So maybe there was somebody a little bit more important that was living here.
But, well, yeah, if it was lived in, but look at that.
It makes me wonder whether or not there was somebody living here after all.
It does, but outside, I mean that looks like a top of a bottom of a lamppost. It's not.
We clearly don't know.
But this out here as well, we're going to show you just out there as a part of a track pulley system. It's like another pulley system.
Unfortunately, we're not experts when it comes
not at all.
to knowing what all these structures are. I mean, we've done as much research as we could, considering that we didn't know where we were going to be able to get to. But we'll take you around as many of them as we actually can.
Yeah. Right, so we've just left this part where the nice ornate fireplace was, which was really cool, by the way. But we are now at the halfway peak of where we are, and I can't tell you enough. This doesn't look steep, but that is absolutely steep. I mean, you can see it, there's a cloud going through that. It's amazing, it really is. But we're going to be coming to this pulley system now. Emma knows a little bit more about these pulley systems than ever I would. She does all the research. But I'm going to put her around and she'll explain it.
Right, so what I've actually got behind me is a part of the incline system. Now, of course, to transport the slate up and down this massive quarry, and obviously they were building and building, and the higher up they got, the higher these inclines needed to be. But of course, the carts needed to be pulled up and down to the port we were talking about. And here we've got an actual drum house. And if you look very closely, you can actually make out that it's still got all of that pulley system, still sort of the wire around them. We've been following that wire all the way down to the ground. And these drum houses are just littered all the way up the incline, which is quite amazing. Right, so we made it up those rather colossal inclines,
yes.
And certainly not for the faint-hearted, that one, but it was definitely worth it when we've got up here, because we are absolutely greeted with an abundance of remains, certainly the best remains, I believe, in the whole quarry. The abandoned industry up here, I've never seen anything like it.
No.
And we've got boiler houses, we've got so many buildings we don't even know what they are.
So
I'm
going to have Emma taking you around this place because she can sort of point out and roughly know what they are.
That's it, yeah. So the first structure we're going to take you for is quite a large one, and it's also quite complete. And we believe inside here is very likely the boilers that may have helped operate those inclines. Now I've just had a look, and there is actually some original boilers still in here, so we're going to take you for a little look. So here we have one of the original boilers, and in fact what we believe that this quite massive machine is very likely a belt that would have driven a lot of the cutting sheds that they've got here, which we'll take you for a little look at in a little while. But the fact that they are still up here is quite astounding.
Next room, very, very impressive in here. Emma's just come in, she went, oh, what's this called? It's a vice. We've got a vice here. Look at that. And obviously a workbench, which is really, really cool. And then look, this is like a
big hood.
It is for a smelter.
Yeah,
looks like a smelting thing.
So I wonder what they were actually smelting, hubby. I mean, there's an awful lot of machinery, so maybe they actually used to maintain it.
Absolutely,
and fix it up.
But look at this. As you just walk around the room, all the pipe work in the rafters, and even down to the sheer big parts of slate separating areas. Look at that. I mean, obviously goats and sheep have been living in here. Yeah. Like obviously through the winter and stuff, but we have got another bit just coming out to here, which is really exciting. These rooms just keep on getting better and better. They're just like surprise, aren't they, after a surprise? Yeah. So have a look at this, look at that. Another engine with another big wheel on it. Obviously, we're not experts. Emma will tell you that.
But this is a British-made engine. This was made in Manchester. And do you know, the thing that astounds me more than anything is that we're quite high up here. How on earth did they actually bring these things up here? This is a huge piece of machinery.
I know. Around here, if you look through here, there's a pressure, I'm not too sure, it's a pressure tank. I'm not too sure.
Could be. Or some sort of fuel storage.
Look at that. Now, it might be a pressure tank or fuel storage. Now, normally oil, I would say. I wouldn't say, I don't know if it's water. I just don't know. We're not experts. We're not overly sure. But maybe someone in the comments that knew grandfather, grandmother, whatever.
Yeah. Or just somebody who's more knowledgeable than us can tell us.
Yeah.
But just behind this building, there is another tank, which I believe might even be connected to this. So maybe we'll take you for a little look at that.
Okay.
So all these structures and buildings and boilers and everything was here basically to create one thing, and that was slate blocks. And we've actually got one of those cutting sheds up here, and where they used to cut their slate into the blocks.
I know.
For us, it's probably the most exciting piece of this place.
It is, but I will say this to you, even though we've climbed this, we will say we have found a very safe way where a lot of people do not find safe ways. So if you do come up here, really please be careful.
Do a bit of homework and make sure that you're happy with the route that you choose.
Exactly. So we're going to now end down to the boiler, the cutting shed, sorry.
Yep,
there
is in fact one or two little pieces on the way to show you, so
we'll have a
look at them. Right, so I haven't just left the structures that house those great big boilers. Just behind it, we've got a massive red tank that we were just telling you about, which you can actually see from miles around. We believe it actually probably contained water to help operate this machinery, and of course they needed a water supply up here. But just behind us, I wanted to show you another one of these quite amazing inclines. Now this one actually goes up to the top level, which we believe is the top level. We thought we were on it here, clearly not. And this one's still got the original tracks. Now, if you can see, there's actually two sets of tracks there, because these would have contained two carts. One would have been hauling an empty cart up, whereas the other one would have been bringing the slate down. And just down the bottom here, something we've not actually seen yet, because this is actually the platforms where those carts would have sat, with its cogs and pulleys, and they're still just in situ, just sitting here at the bottom of the incline. So still moving on along this area past numerous abandoned and ruined buildings, and following more and more of this tram track, we actually follow it straight into, like I said, one of the most impressive structures that we've got here, which is, well, we believe, or we quite clearly know, it was the cutting shed for all that slate. And this is just an absolute sight that definitely made it worth us climbing all the way up there to have a look at. So here we have the interior of just one of those cutting sheds that would have been dotted all over the quarry back when it was still in use. They've got rows of these cutting tables. Each one would have been manned by somebody who would have been using one of these circular saws to cut the slate into blocks. And just behind it, it would have been sprayed with cold water to keep it all cool and help them with the cutting process.
So Emma's just explained to you exactly what these were for. So it was literally for cutting big slabs, and you can sort of tell the size slabs that they were cutting. I mean, look at the slabs. They were very big. They were quite impressive, to be honest with you, and there would have been 2 or 3 men probably working on each bench.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I'm not too sure about the details.
You've got to remember
of the exact history.
You have got to remember though that these slabs were heavy. So obviously that had to take a few blokes to do that.
I believe there's a few old photographs available on the internet that I may include, which shows these actually being used back in the day.
That's right. And the roof was obviously collapsed in. Emma actually suggested a nice glass roof. I don't think it would have been glass personally, but you never know.
The only reason why I say that is because there's actually no windows in this building, and of course they would have needed light to keep it light. The other reason why I'm suggesting that is that there appears to be quite a lot of rather thick
hang on a minute.
glass on the floor.
You are right, yes.
Which is sort of reinforced glass as well, like you would get in a large glass roof, like a warehouse.
You are right.
These buildings very likely don't date back to the original sort of 1870s and those early days. So, you know, maybe this building was sort of updated and modernised later on. So that was the most impressive cutting shed here at the top of the Dinorwig Quarry. But there's loads of other buildings to see. I mean, there is literally hundreds of buildings dotted all over here. So hopefully, if we've got enough time, we're going to show you as many more as we possibly can before we have to go.
Just reached another part of the the quarry, really. This is actually the top of the tram lines, is that right?
This is the top of probably the biggest incline I think they might actually have here, which actually brings us up to the level where the cutting shed was. Very, very steep and really impressive with its sort of, it's still got a lot of its tracks and numerous drum houses all the way up.
All the way along.
And we've actually got one just up here, but unfortunately it's a little worse for wear.
It is. But on the scans that we have actually got, we've got some really good drums there, haven't we? We have got some good ones. So, you know, but I will say this, whoever you are to come here, do not take this route. If you're an experienced climber, come this way, but I really wouldn't do, because I don't think you can appreciate how steep and how dangerous this area actually
That
is.
is, yeah. No, I mean, none of this is steady anymore. In fact, the reason why this quarry actually closed down originally in 1969, I believe, was because these spoil heaps, that it is just made up of massive spoil heaps, just kept collapsing in onto the quarry. And they had to shut it down pretty much because of health and safety in the end.
So what we're going to do is that we're going to go down our way, and we'll see you at the bottom and maybe show you around a few more bits on the public footpath.
Bits and bobs that we can reach safely. The cool stuff that we can't reach safely, you'll see in the drone footage.
Exactly. So we'll see when we get down there.
Now, of course, with quarries that had tramways, they needed wagons, because of course it was wagons that was moving all that material up and down. And we've not actually seen very many of these wagons, that is until now, because there appears to be quite a large collection of them just dumped here at the side, with a little bit of a tramway going through it, halfway up. So I'm going to put a few little pictures in sort of to show you, because this is quite impressive.
So we've come down that really, really steep incline, and actually it was all right, wasn't it? It was safe. It was actually safer than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, we looked for the safest route and decided on that. But we're back down the bottom now, on a little bit of a quest for some more structures. Now, of course, with a quarry this size, being 700 acres and 3,000 men that worked here, it would have needed some accommodation, because not everybody would have travelled in from just down the road.
No, of course not.
And there is, in fact, quite a lot of quarryman cottages around here. And we've seen a few. We're going to go and take you for a little look at some of those. But there's some quite famous ones called the Anglesey Barracks, which we're hoping to find. So we're going to want to see if we can find them now.
That's it.
At its peak in the 1860s, the quarry and surrounding industries required a workforce of over 3,000 men, many of which had to be brought in from communities all over Gwynedd and as far away as Anglesey. Many of the workers would travel to the quarry to work during the week, only returning home at weekends. Accommodation was built on site for them in the form of small basic cottages, known as barracks. And one of the best examples here at Dinorwig are known as the Anglesey Barracks. Set in 2 rows, the 2-room cottages had very little protection from the elements, and living conditions were extremely poor, with no running water or electric. But the option of staying in them was much better than taking the long treacherous journey back to their hometowns every evening. They continued to be used right up until 1937, when they were eventually deemed as unfit for human habitation. And despite sitting abandoned and open to the elements for nearly 90 years, they are the best preserved here at Dinorwig and make up a small part that is the World Heritage Site of the Slate landscape of North Wales. Right, so I hope you liked looking at those barrack houses with us, or the workmen's cottages. They were quite cool. There's so many of them. We didn't include them on the video because we just came across more and more of them.
But we did promise you some more footage of some more buildings. So these are the buildings on the way out of the quarry or on the way in. Yeah. Whichever way you want to look at it, really. But we've got this one, which is quite a fantastic building, actually. And it still has the telegraph receiver poles at the top there. Well, the insulators.
Yes.
The insulators up there. So this is quite a nice building.
This is actually, I believe, I think there was a Smithies up here. I did know what this was, I can't quite remember. But there is a large building just behind Stu that we actually do know what it is.
That's it, so let's turn around and have a look. And here we are. These are the cutting sheds.
It certainly is.
And obviously we've just been to one of the highest peaks of the quarry, which is at the top there. And you can actually look very carefully, you can see the red water tower that we were looking at, and it's right up there. The distance is amazing from here. And yeah, this is the cutting shed, same sort of layout as what we had up at the top of the mountain, the top of the hill, mountain, whatever way you want to look at it really. Same layout, but unfortunately this one is in a bit more of a worse for wear state. But we will have a quick look through this this doorway here. Oh, and yes, all the machinery has been taken out. You can see there's no machinery left in any part of that building. And it looks like they've just left it to rack and ruin.
Yeah, this particular area, known as the Mills, was absolutely surrounded by buildings. Again, if I can, there's some nice little pictures on the information boards that
Yeah.
I'm going to pop a little look in for you. But yeah, there's just sort of the two buildings here now, with just some piles of rubble.
Rubble over there.
As this whole site is just piles of rubble.
It's just piles of spoil, isn't it?
But this particular area is quite easily accessible. If you do want to come and have a look, it's on a public footpath. So
That's
if
it.
you're not feeling too adventurous and you just want to experience the quarry, this is a nice little place just to come and have a little look at the viewing area they've just got down there.
And it is
I think there's
beautiful.
a few benches and, you know, have a picnic.
That's it. But we hope you enjoyed this video as much as we've enjoyed making it. Actually, this has been an excellent experience. But if you did like it, please like and subscribe. We always very much appreciate that. And
Definitely. And we also have our Patreon as well if you want to have a little look at that.
yeah, and it's only £3 a month now, which is a flat rate.
Yeah, but here from a very small look at the Dinorwig Slate Quarry here up in North Wales. Hopefully next time we might return and have a little look more.
That's it. So have some exploring with Emma and Stu, and obviously Finley was with us. We'll see you again.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.